bloodsuckers.
As you walk through the valley of the shadow of hell,
Join us!
you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil.
We have such sights to show you.
A veil that is beyond our own comprehension.
I'm just gonna bash your brains.
Beyond the void.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
That's right, it's episode 189. I am Alex.
And I'm Christina.
And we are going to bring to you today Killer Crocodile and
Killer Crocodile 2.
These are the Italian schlocky, interesting creature feature films from 1989 and 90 that were shot back to back intentionally. And one of them is so bad it's good. So S-Big territory here, guys. So you should be excited about that. Whee. And both of these movies are on Tubi for free with ads.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. So if you guys have Tubi, you don't know what that is, it's an app that you can get on your phone. It's an app you can get on your TV or, like PS4, Xbox, wherever. Apple even, I think, has it. So you can use it pretty much anywhere. And search up Killer Crocodile from 1989 and Killer Crocodile 2 from 1990. So
if you're interested after we talk about it.
Yeah, which is going to be a lot of fun, guys. So I got a lot of really cool trivia about it because there's some people that are involved in these movies that are something else. There's some legends in here, really. So
I'm excited to hear what you have to say because I heard you screaming about it.
Yeah, there was some pretty crazy stuff in it. But how are you doing this week?
I have to tell you.
Okay.
I have not watched the Bill and Ted trailer yet, and I'm trying not to.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of trailers lately because I've been doing a lot of YouTube videos. So I've been trying to watch them. So I've been kind of keeping YouTube in my feed a lot. And I get notified. So I'm really excited about the new Bill and Ted.
I'm excited too, and that's why I don't want to watch the trailer. I want to go into it with
it's not a spoilerific trailer. You
care.
should just watch it because it's like a teaser and then not watch the rest of them.
No, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm already going to watch the movie.
Are weird.
It's a huge part of my life.
For somebody that doesn't want things spoiled so much, you always tend to spoil movies when we talk about them.
Oh, well, that's different.
Oh, for them, it's okay.
That's different.
But not for you. Okay, you're above that.
Yeah, I am.
I'm just giving you shit.
Most people are going to watch these movies anyway, so.
Yeah, but, one of them at least I think most people should probably watch. And if you enjoyed that, we'll get into that later. Sorry, right. I'm already jumping into it.
Yeah, you are. See, spoiling now, bitch.
By the way, guys, if you haven't shared this episode, please do with somebody that you think would enjoy this or with your friends or wherever you can. Any of the support that you give us really does help reach more individuals like yourself to get the support and the encouragement to keep going. Because if it wasn't for you guys, we really probably would just, do it anyway, even if it was just shouting into a mic that wasn't recording. But it's fun and I enjoy it. And I love it, and I hope you guys do too. So if you do enjoy what we do each week, help us reach more people because it really does mean a lot. So we got some new YouTube videos up on the fucking YouTube too. I did some reviews of Becky and
you had a haul.
Warning, do not play.
Right.
Yeah, I had a video haul too for like a bunch of new movies that I picked up during the pandemic. It was a pandemic haul, I should have called it, but I was afraid YouTube would like block it from being seen from anybody. Turns out nobody wanted to watch it anyway, so I'm kidding. But yeah, guys, if you haven't followed the YouTube, probably going to get to the point where we can actually get monetized for it, which just means that it will probably be like a trailer or commercial or something in the beginning of it, which really does a little bit at a time help us pay for everything that we do here. So anyway, guys, we got a great episode for you today. So I hope you'll stick around for both movies that we talk about. We'll be breaking down both of them and, doing our typical BTV treatment with a lot of great trivia. So I think it might be that time.
What time is it?
HORRORSHOTS! All right, guys. So today we're going to be doing a shot based on the movie Killer Crocodile. So the first one in particular, because we get introduced to one of the most amazing characters and crocodile hunters. And no, we're not talking about Crocodile Dundee. We're talking about Cold Joe.
Cold Joe.
Cold Joe.
So Cold Joe, who the fuck is that? Well, that's the guy that's in the movie that hunts down this crocodile, and it is a big crocodile at that. And he's somewhat of a cold feller. We just thought it'd be funny to do a shot based on Cold Joe. So what's in it?
So since it's a Joe, it's a coffee shot.
Yes.
So I got this.
Clever.
I got this amazing cold brew coffee from Costco because I'm obsessed with Costco.
Yeah.
So we used some of that and some vodka and
some cream.
A dab of cream, yeah.
Yeah. You could do the dab of cream after. We don't have it in the pictures that we put up, but that's okay. It looks pretty cool. If you actually let the shot sit in the fridge for like 10 minutes, it'll separate and the cream will go to the bottom with the coffee rising to the top. It's a pretty cool looking shot. So thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take it right now, guys. So let's see how cold it is.
Can't say no to a cold beer.
Yeah, I can't say no to a cold Joe. It rhymes better that way, I think.
It does.
Woof. It reminds me of like a coffee flavored White Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like with Kahlua.
Dang, I wish we had Bailey's or Kahlua.
We did. I don't know what happened to Kahlua.
No, we drank it.
Oh, yeah. Hard times out here.
I didn't want to use Jaeger because we always use Jaeger.
Anyway, guys. If you would love to find out what's in a Cold Joe and make one for yourself to show the spirit of the show and let Joe know that he's one badass motherfucker, all you got to do is go to longlivethevoid.com and check out our hashtag horror shot section now. That's it for Horror Shots. So now the creme de la creme, the Cold Joe de la Joe of all of the best movies in the world. One of them being one of the so bad it's good films that you should probably check out. We're going to jump into our flesh and potatoes of Killer Crocodile and
Killer Crocodile 2.
Right now.
So we're back. Christina's got the information, the deets on some of the people who were in it and who worked on it. So why don't you drop that hot knowledge, Christina?
All right. Killer Crocodile from 1989. A group of environmentalists arrive at a fairway tropical delta where toxic waste is being dumped. However, the water also hides a giant crocodile. The corrupt local officers don't help much either. Fuck the police.
I did not say that.
I added that because it's true. But anyway.
Oh my God, here we go.
This was directed and he also was involved in writing the movie. Fabrizio De Angelis.
Yeah. Fabrizio De Angelis.
Should I repeat it?
No, I'm just being an idiot.
Okay, no, you're fine. Just making sure. Because, I don't have accents. So
no, it's okay.
It's hard to roll my R's and shit. Anyway, he also did Deadly Impact, Thunder, the Karate Warrior series, and Breakfast with Dracula. This movie was also written by Dardando Sakati. Sorry if I said that wrong. He has also written Zombie 2, City of the Living Dead, House by the Cemetery, The Beyond, and The New York Ripper. You really like that movie, huh?
I don't know about New York Ripper. It's just one of those movies. Like,
you reviewed it, right?
Yeah. I think me and Patrick watched it or whatever. It's very sexually driven. A lot of these Italian, these are a lot of exploitative shit. So, but it's Dardano Sarcetti.
Dardando Sarcetti.
Sarcetti.
Shart?
You want to say shart now?
Shartitty.
Wow. Anyway.
Are we done?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we said it right because the guy did a lot of big films in the Italian scene.
Right, and I can't pronounce. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not
okay.
Italian. I'm from Arizona. Anyway, okay. The cast of this film stars Richard Anthony Crennan, who plays Kevin. He's done minor roles in The Blob, Predator 2. He was also on the series Roswell, also starring Ennio Girolami, who plays Joe.
Cold Joe.
Obviously.
Cold Joe.
Out of control. Obviously, he's an Italian actor. He passed away in 2013. Lots of Italian movies, including Warriors of the Wasteland from 1983, The Last Shark from 1981, Sexy Sinners, and The Feast of Satan. Also
The Feast of Satan.
Yeah, that sounded interesting.
That's got to be a 60s or 70s
totally
one. Yeah,
it was like late 60s. Okay. Also starring Pietro Gignardi, who plays Mark. He was in Cemetery Man from 1994. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Also, he's just been on a lot of TV shows other than that. And then Sherry Rose, who plays Pamela, also played Wanda in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. And she was...
Oh!
Yeah. Familiar, right?
She was the lady of the night.
Yeah. Wanda.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was also in 2 episodes of Tales from the Crypt.
The hooker with a heart of gold, as they said in the movie.
That's her. Yeah. And then in this movie, she's boring. But anyway, I did not find a budget for this movie, obviously. Did you?
Nope, I didn't find one. So it's not a lie. I just looked, maybe, but... Well, first, before we jump into that, I want to mention who else is in this film and who worked on this. Because there are some pretty interesting, legendary individuals who worked on this film. First off, we have Riz Ortolani, who did a lot of work in the film industry on well over 200 projects, including Kill Bill. He had music in Madhouse, Fear in the City, Brothers in Blood. He also did the work on Crocodile 2, some. It was newer work, I do recall, but we'll get into that in the part 2. But he's a pretty well-known composer, and he does a very straight-laced kind of Jaws-y theme for this movie in Killer Crocodile. It's not as good, clearly.
Right.
But we also got the creature that was designed and some of the makeup effects done by the legendary Gianetto Di Rossi, who he did a ton of work on Italian film scene, but he's done many films in general.
Didn't he direct Killer Crocodile too? Okay.
He did.
Because that,
but the movies that he's worked on and what he's known for is the special effects,
right?
Makeup, gore, and shit, especially in the Italian scene. Because he did a lot of films like Zombie, Rambo 3, David Lynch's Dune, The Beyond, House by the Cemetery, Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue.
High Tension.
Yeah, he's done a lot.
Yeah, he's done a lot.
But he's really one of the guys who set the industry standard for the look and feel of Italian horror and really kind of pushed the special and practical effects forward in the industry by doing things that he didn't consider to be necessarily good in the practical effects. For an example, he did not like how the zombies looked in Dawn of the Dead, and that's a big argument that a lot of people have is, why are they blue? Well, the reason is because they were trying to make them look so pale that when it showed up on film, it made it look blue. So some of the zombies are blue in that film, but that is not intentional. They didn't want to make them blue, but he comes from a long line of different artists too. So his grandfather, his father, and now his daughter all work in the practical effects realm. So, but yeah, that's all. I just wanted to mention that because he's just a legend. He's done so much great work. Like the zombie eye scene, the gouging scene from Zombie. This fucking stand out. The zombie standing up out of the grave with the worms in his eyes, the maggot zombie, is fucking awesome. So
what'd you think of the movie, Alex?
Well, as I mentioned before, this is my first time watching it. I knew to expect some sort of level of cheese. I was hoping for the so bad it's good kind, the S-Big kind of cheese, which we both like, right?
Right.
But this wasn't too bad of a cheesy little Italian creature feature film. Sometimes I even felt like it had a slasher vibe to it at times. It leans decently enough into the S-Big category, which is a good thing for me and those who want that kind of laugh at the film kind of moments. They do have quite a bit of those moments in here. It's a killer crocodile story that I assume takes place in Florida, but they don't really ever quite say that, even though I know it wasn't shot in Florida and they have bananas and shit. But it's an eco-environmental story too that's turned on its head and churns out a bit of sometimes you just gotta
Kill
kind of vibe, which is, it's got healthy heapings of that in the story as well. Like really heavy on that by the end of the movie, which just kind of adds to the fun here. Those eco-scientists trying to uncover some toxic dumping and a crocodile hero type named Joe.
Cold Joe.
Who doesn't fuck around, and he also adds to the silly manly type kind of guy. There's a little bit of gore in this film, not a lot, but it's sort of just kind of played like a mainstream movie with a really cheesy looking crocodile that is gigantic. It's like 9 feet long, half of it is like 9 feet long, and it's huge. So, but they genuinely, I think, wanted to please a much bigger audience. But I mean, it's 89 and the croc looks gloriously schlock as fuck in the probably the best way possible for me, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to watch this movie. With a bit of blood and practical, although I was really kind of hoping it would let loose. It's not perfect, so it's not crazy levels of tension here. And it does take a little while to get to the story and get it going and everything like that. But when it does, you should have quite a few laughs. It makes, for a decent one of those pizza movie and beer, mostly you'll be laughing at the silly dialogue and reasoning of the characters, like, why are you doing this? Like, seriously, why are you doing this? But it's all part of the viewing experience. It was, at least for us, I feel. And I was hoping, like I said, for a little bit more gore filled and bloody, like, carnage of like eating people and chopping and breaking bits off, which it didn't really have. There was one moment of that in it, but even still, on the S-big scale, I would say that this is probably a 6 out of 10. If you can dig on Italian cheese and you like to have a laugh, I'd say it's a fun one. And you should be happy, but if you're looking for the, level of crawl type fun,
oh no,
it is nowhere near in that category, so stay clear. It's a different movie than that, and the trailer should be proof enough of that. So I think you'll figure out the tone here. But what did you think?
I have the same feelings. I thought it was okay. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was like just a good S-big movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't amazingly cheesy, but it was worth the watch one time.
Yeah.
I did want more craziness and over-the-top deaths, like you said.
Right.
It was really lacking gore.
If this movie would have had the gore, it probably would have been an 8 easily.
Oh, totally.
And you would think with Gianetto De on board, but they just didn't have the budget to do that kind of stuff.
Right. But the look of the crocodile was amazing. The way the eyes moved and how it creeped out of the water was really cool, and how they did just the camera work for the crocodile.
As schlocky as it was, the alligator actually looked pretty cool.
Yeah, totally.
For the budget they had.
The story was ridiculous, but I mean, it was fun. How can a character go from stabbing a crocodile in the throat to not wanting to kill the damn thing? Like, it baffles my mind. I did learn that crocodiles lay eggs. I did not know that.
10 to 20. Or 25 or something
really?
Like that. Yeah, something
wow,
like that.
That's a lot. And then we also had the discussion of how do crocodiles have sex. I forgot to
Yeah, we didn't look that up.
I know, I didn't look it up.
Just picture it in your mind,
okay.
guys, and have a nice sip of beer, maybe jerk off.
Overall, it was entertaining. I probably won't watch it again, so I gave it a 4 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought we had a really good time watching it.
Yeah, we had a good time, but then I thought about it. I was like, man, this could have been a lot better. The only good thing about this was the crocodile, but the crocodile didn't really kill. Well, he killed people, but it wasn't like this over dramatic, cheesy, gory thing, which I was expecting.
Right. Like I said, if it would have been, and it like had the like showpieces in it,
right,
like the gore showpieces that we always talk about on the show, it would have been an 8,
right,
easily out of 10 for the so bad it's good, because the jokes and the dialogue are all there. Everything's set up, but the gore isn't. So it's like it really kind of sucks. So it's they were trying to do it on a budget, guys, but. So for both of us, I gave it a 6, she gave it a 4, so it's about a 5 between the two of us. So that'll give you an idea of what to expect, I think. But I think honestly, you really should give it a watch.
Yeah.
And if you like it enough, maybe stick around for the second one when you do.
Definitely stick around for the second one.
So that's what we got to think about the film in our spoiler-free section. Now we got our spoilers and trivia, and we'll go over the trivia first. And we'll give you plenty of warning. Well, we'll let you know when we go into our scenes, of course. But if you have not seen the movie and you don't want anything spoiled, go ahead and check it out on Tubi. It's free with ads. I don't know how many ads are going to be in it, but, you know, at the very least, it's free. So you can watch it on there and follow us along. But here is your warning. All right, so now we're going to get into our trivias and spoilers. This is an Italian movie, by the way, that was shot in the city of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic.
Oh.
Yeah, so, which explains a lot, because I was really confused why there was bananas.
Right.
It's like, there's no bananas in Florida that I know of.
Yeah, they never really acknowledged where they were at.
No, they didn't even, they just said, I heard them say state, but it was also shot in about 2.5 months, which caught me off guard. I'm like, wow, that's a long time.
Right, but it was because they were doing both the movies.
Right. That's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's at least how long some people stayed there, some of the actors. So, I mean, I'm just assuming they didn't really state specifically. So just to be clear. But Giannetto De Rossi, the special effects guy who I mentioned, made the Croc. And he said that Fabrizio was a businessman through and through. Not a very likable guy.
Oh.
He's, very strict money, business, get it done, cheap, quick, let's go. And he saw an opportunity to make money on this kind of idea. And he said, I guess I'll direct it, because he's also a producer. He can produce and direct and pretty much has, he could do some pretty creative stuff if he wanted to. But he saw it as more of a business opportunity rather than something he's passionate about. He's passionate about making money, essentially. But which, Giannetto was like, well, that's just everybody. Everybody does things differently. So although they didn't have a lot of money to make the Croc, and even De Rossi said it was probably a laughing stock in the industry for him, a low point. But he did what he could with the money that they had, and he just wanted to do work.
Right.
So they only had one Croc too, and it was made with latex and plaster and shit like that. And they have like a sort of a mechanical head that a person had to be inside of the fucking crocodile
to
make its mouth open and shit. Ooh. And then they would pull it on a rope or a wire under the water by boat to make it move.
Do we know where this crocodile is now?
Probably in pieces or thrown away.
I don't know. Some people hold on to stuff like that.
It's too big.
So people still have jaws.
They didn't mention anything about it, at least.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
But Richard Anthony Crenna, who was the main guy, Kevin, he's the secondary hero in this movie, other than
Cold Joe.
The way that you look at me when I do that is so funny. Anyway, Richard Anthony Crenna was the son, he is the son of Richard Crenna, who is in all of the Rambo movies as Colonel Troutman. It was a bad time for everyone, Rambo. It's all in the past now. For you! For me, civilian life is nothing! That guy.
That was good.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was trying to find that clip online today, just because I was like, am I saying it right? Because I was writing this down, and I looked it up and they had like the 10 best quotes from the Rambo franchise, and that wasn't one of them. I'm like, what the fuck? That scene's like epic. Like, it's so great. Anyway, one of the actors who played Mark, his name is Pietro Genuardi. He was originally cast in the film, and he just accepted it without any audition. So he didn't have to actually even try out.
Oh, nice.
It was his second film. He was on the Lucio Fulci Paganini of Horror, which is like weird sadist movie that Fulci did. Sexploitation, sort of Nazi exploitation sort of thing. But his actor name in the film, which you'll see in the credits when you watch this, guys, or if you've seen it, is named Julian Hampton, because the director, Fabrizio, was like, nah, you got to change it. So they came up with different names, and he was like, maybe Joshua? And he's like, no, something like Julian. And he was like, Julian Hampton. And he was like, the good. But they spent a long time on that because he didn't want him to use his like Italian name. Even though this was like not a movie that was directed for the big audience in the US, he just wanted to cover it. That's like a very big thing in Italian films, having an actor name so it sounds like you're in America. Pietro also recollected on his first day and how they were all locked down in a hotel for 3 days because of a hurricane.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so they were like literally taping up the hotel windows, and it had destroyed the hotel, part of the hotel before because of the hurricane. So they were like kind of freaking out. So the 3 main guys, Mark, Bob, and Kevin, all the 3 main characters, they got to know each other by literally playing charades.
They're bunkered down.
Yeah, like they all spoke different. Like one was Spanish, one was Italian, one was like American, and they spoke different things. And the only way they could really get to know each other was just to play charades the entire time in those 3 days while locked down.
That's interesting.
I thought that was cool, But he said that they had a lot of fun together, those 3 guys. Pietro also said one of the people operating the crocodile died.
Like while they were filming the movie?
Yes.
How did he die?
So he wasn't sure if they were inside or outside of the croc. I assume they were inside of the croc because they drowned.
What? What?
Yeah. So he drowned. Right. And listen how well this happened. Like, let me tell you this story real quick because it's kind of fucked up. So this guy drowned, and they said they pulled him out of the water, out of the croc. I think it was in the croc because it makes more sense because that thing's getting pulled underwater. It floats because it's latex.
Right.
And there's a guy inside who's operating the mouth. So, and it's really tight in there. And I can imagine there's no way for him to let anybody know that he's drowning.
Right.
So they pulled him out of the water, and then he said after about 5 minutes of grieving and mourning, people were upset. The producer was like, all right, everyone, ready? Call.
Oh my God, that's fucked up.
Let's shoot. Like, holy fuck.
5 minutes, that's all you get.
5 minutes. So this nightmare of a movie. That guy lost his life on this movie.
I wonder, now I'm curious what scene it was.
I don't know. They didn't say.
Because that might explain some of the acting.
Can you
I
don't think there is an explanation for the acting, let's be honest, Christina. If you're looking for a reason. But Pietro also came and told a story on the Severin disc, because we got the Severin Blu-rays. They come in the pack. It's like 2-pack. You get 1 and 2 together. He said that they were staying at the hotel, and after the hurricane and everything, they were really good buddies, and they would go out and party and drink and, celebrate together and just hang out. In fact, they probably had too much fun, and the director really didn't like that because it was like time to work. Because he's like a working guy. So when one night they came back from partying and they went back to the hotel, and the room next to the hotel the door was open, and he looked in and saw like a briefcase or like a luggage thing full of cocaine.
Oh my God.
Or he said drugs, but I'm paraphrasing because it was cocaine.
Right.
But then he kept staring at it because he was drunk, and he was like, "What am I seeing? What I'm seeing?" And he's not a guy who like does anything other than drink and doesn't even smoke cigarettes or anything. So, you know what I mean? Like, he hadn't done anything. He hadn't smoked pot, nothing, he said. Then he saw the guy's face looking at him, and then he was like terrified what he had just saw, because it was like, is this what's going to happen now?
Right.
So he went into the hotel room, laid down, and was watching, just doing whatever. And then he heard a knock on the door.
Oh my God.
And he was like, so he looked in, and he saw like it's Asian man standing out there. And then he opened the door reluctantly, and the guy was like, "Let me see your passport." And, he was like, "What? I'm not going to give you my passport. What's going on?" And he was like, "I need to see your passport. How long have you been here?" And he's like, "Well, I've already been here for like a month." Like, he was like, "Oh, fuck, this is the same guy that's like from next door." And he's like freaking out. And he's like, "Let me see your passport." So he gives him this passport reluctantly. And the guy grabbed his arm, like not too hard, but he was like, "You need to come with me." And they went to the room next door. And the briefcase was gone, so the drugs weren't there. But there was a big old line of Coke on the table. And the guy was like, motioned him to do it. And he's like, "I've never done Coke. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, He did it because the guy forced him to. And And he's like freaking out, you know, because he had to do this because he's never done it. And he tried to like, no, I don't need it. And the guy was like, he knew that if he didn't do it, like maybe something bad would happen, you know? So then the guy led him back to his room after he gave him a big smile after he did it. And he said he was so fucked up that night. He kept being worried that he was going to die that night. Like he tried to drug him so that he would kill him or something. I don't know what he was trying to say. But he talked about him taking his shit in the toilet. He's like, you know, they say scared the shit out of you. I knew what that meant. Because I was on the toilet the whole night. Like, wow, dude. I mean, that's kind of an interesting story, but it's probably just popping up his head as just recollecting, you know. Also, the lead actor, Kevin guy, the Kevin character, Richard Anthony Crenna, he said that the water that they were filming in was just disgusting.
It looked disgusting.
He's like, you know, it smelled like garbage. He was like, you know, it's a beautiful place and everything like that, but there's a lot of like trash and pollution in that water. So it was literally polluted, just not with radioactive pollution.
Right.
Which this movie is about.
Right.
But that's pretty much it for the trivia, guys. So we're going to go through and kind of break down some of the movie here, some of our favorite bits and some things that we really want to point out about this movie because it's just batshit crazy.
Yeah, it is.
What do we get? The first scene is the guy playing guitar with his girlfriend. They go to the fucking water. They show up and he's like, he plays a little on his guitar and he tries to make out with the girl. He's like, what'd you think? You know? And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's all it takes, guys. Play a little lick on your guitar and you can wet those panties up in a jiffy. It's like, and it is like, she was like, ooh, it's romantic.
Yeah. Oh, let me go jump in the water.
And she was like, oh, not now. Come in the water with me. And I'm like, he just played a sick tune. I'd suck his dick for that track.
He would.
I'm just saying. It's pretty good. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But you see her go out in the water and get taken by something. And they have this scene where the hand's like sticking up out of the water while she's being pulled. So she probably had like something around her waist pulling her. And you see her hand almost like a shark fin or something. It's kind of dumb. And you see blood, you know, in the water.
Just a little.
Which I always wonder, it's like one of the movies that, you know, I think gets a lot of shit for being just like garbage is like the new remakes of Piranha, 3D and Double D.
I haven't seen them.
Those are like comedy, schlock, silly fun. But like the one thing they got right is they got a lot of blood. Like there is so much blood in those movies because when you do bloody scenes in a movie that's with water, it's really not very good.
Because it gets watered down.
Right, exactly. So it's like, you really got to come with the blood.
Right.
So, and this movie doesn't really do that great of a job with the blood.
No.
Like they had a budget. But some ecologists are traveling by boat to check out the water pollutants in the river of this area and in Florida, I guess, like I said. But they suspect that there's been some dumping, which they find a few drums of waste that are conveniently marked radioactive, by the way, which always blows my mind.
In that scene, when they were first showing the researchers on the boat and there's a fucking dog on the boat, and it's like, oh, come on,
we
dude.
knew. We knew.
It's like, obviously that, you know, there's a dog there because it's going to get fucking killed.
I was like, oh, this is the John Wick moment, you know, like you're going to hate the alligator now because they kill the dog.
Exactly.
Which, you know, of course the dog does die, but they don't show it.
Thank God.
They just, like, somehow the fucking alligator kills the fucking dog later. And you see the collar on the ground, which...
What was the dog's
somehow
name?
It snapped the neck and like broke the collar off, but the whole body of the dog is gone. Yeah. Betsy? Isn't that what the name of the dog was?
Oh, yeah, it was. It was Betsy, which is a stupid name. Sorry if you named your animal Betsy, but it's a stupid name.
I mean, but the funny thing to me is when they're like searching for these drums is... Like they say radioactive on the side, like you really don't need to test it. Yeah. He gets in the water with this fucking... It's not even a wetsuit. It's like what you use to paint a wall. And he put it on. And even fucking Richard Anthony fucking Crenna was like, said that scene when they pulled him up out of the water, that water just kept draining out of his suit the whole time. So you can kind of see him laughing. And the director was pissed because they had to do 2 takes. Oh. Yeah, but that whole thing filled up. It's just ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
But they camp somewhere else, and that's when the dog gets attacked. But there's this really cool shot that I like, that when she's going and looking for Betsy, her dog or whatever, you see like the crocodile, like it's like bam, crocodile. Like they don't show her getting eaten, but you see like a camera from inside of the mouth and the teeth, and her like, oh, such a great shot. I love that.
Yeah, her screaming and not moving. Like,
Yeah,
why
I
aren't
know.
you running?
I don't know. It's still a nice shot. Yeah, it's kind of like that thing in The Omen when the guy gets the spear through the fucking body in the original.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do
saw it
you could have
coming.
moved,
Yeah,
dude.
just move a little bit. You just to like 1 foot. You would have been fine.
But she dies. She's the one that's like kind of leading them around the like villages and stuff.
She's like the local girl, the local helper.
They go look for her on a boat too, which is just blows my mind. Like screaming her name on the river.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
That was weird.
Like,
too.
how far could she have possibly gone that you've traveled like 7 miles on a boat to find her? But they go to find some police and talk to them about the missing girl who's missing. Mm-hmm. He's like, he's this famous actor. What's his name? John Van Horn or some shit like that. He's like an old timey fucking actor that's been in some like legit movies and anything, but he's got a white ascot around his neck with his open shirt and his pale pinky skin like poking through. And he's like, it's like funny. They're like, so we're looking for our friend. And he's like, I can't use my boat to go looking for a missing girl. And they're like, you're kidding, right? And he says, do I look like I'm joking? And I'm thinking to myself, like, no, but you sure do dress like a joke. Like, what the fuck are you wearing, dude? And it's like, it's really sad because like you could tell it's so fucking hot where they are that his body was blotchy red.
Yeah, totally.
He was
red.
so pale, like more pale than I am, and I'm pretty fucking pale. And like you could see like his heart beating and like
his veins pumping blood.
yeah, you could see all of his. He was like Mr. Body or whatever, you know.
He's like one of those things they use, the medical students use.
Yeah, no disrespect, by the way. I don't think he's alive anymore.
I don't think he's alive. I think we're okay.
Just the attire and that blotchy skin was gross to me. I don't know why. But we find out after he's in on the old dumping grounds, and there's this guy, Ted, and he's like the person who's doing it. And the guy that they talk to is kind of like the mayor in the town. He's the judge, they call him.
Judge.
But the pale guy, he's the judge. And then there's Ted, I think was his name.
I think so, yeah. So then don't they go, so they leave and they go and they're back on the river trying to find the friend.
Right.
And the boat gets stuck.
Right.
And then the friends.
This part was so fucking bizarre, dude.
It was so bizarre.
Like they wanted to have a moment where it was really tense, where you have the crocodile watching them.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's actively seeking them out like a slasher would.
Right.
Like from the distance and like
He's
waiting to attack.
The crocodile's watching them be stupid.
Right. They're like, okay, we need to get out of the boat and rock this boat. And literally for almost 10 minutes, they're rocking this boat and it's doing nothing.
Right.
It's literally doing nothing.
And how did they run into the land anyway? He just like drove up to the land. That's how they got stuck.
Yeah, they were like, oh no, we ran into something like we didn't see. And I'm like, how did you not see all the bushes and trees that were right there?
Right there in front of you.
It's really bizarre.
But that happened, and then the friend's body pops. She just like pops up out of the water. She
Stands
just,
up like,
whoop.
what's up?
Of course, she's dead. But
It's not
it
the
was
friend.
funny.
It's the chick that got eaten.
the local girl who got killed to begin with. She
Right.
pops up out of the water. Well, they kept calling her their friend.
Right. Whatever.
That's why I said friend.
It's only because she died. They call her. They didn't know her.
So then they bring her body back to shore, and they end up in, was it a kitchen they were in?
Yeah.
And the body was in a sink?
They were supposed to be at the autopsy room because they were doing an autopsy to see how she died. Because she's got this big open gash on her chest that is very clearly not because she drowned. But they're trying to determine if she was eaten after, I guess, or before, she died or whatever, because of how she died. And of course, the judge and that guy who's trying to cover up the dumping are like, oh yeah, it's, you know, she probably just drowned, you know, and something ate her skin.
Uh-huh.
She very clearly has a scratch on her chest and a missing leg.
And didn't the judge and him accuse the kids of murder? Like,
yes,
you might have murdered her.
They try to accuse the scientists of raping and killing her.
That's right.
Like, and that's why her body was found, is that they were trying to cover up a rape and a murder. I'm like, first of all, there's like 3 other girls there.
Yeah.
3 guys, and they all joined in on this. Like, I don't fucking understand what is going on.
Why would you go out looking for her and begging those people to help you look for her if you raped and murdered her?
What the fuck? But then the judge is like talking about how it wasn't a croc, and then the fucking
Cold Joe.
storms on in, and he's like, nah, that's a croc killing. And the scientists literally say this place stinks. Next to a dead body, which I thought was really distasteful.
And there was a bunch of dead fish.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's probably
the fucking fish.
or the dead body right there that's just rotting in front of you. I don't know. It was really fucking funny. There's some kids that are playing on the dock with a ball at this point, and one of the girls drops her Cabbage Patch Kid in the water. For all of you younger kids, these are these dolls with these hard faces called Cabbage Patch. You might or may not know what they are, but they were pretty popular. Even boys played with them.
You had a couple, didn't you?
I had a Cabbage Patch Kid, actually.
Yeah. I had like 3.
It was given to me by my like grandma or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I ended up shooting it with arrows by the end of it. I wish I wouldn't have, because they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah, there was a lot of money.
My friend had literally, she had like 50 of them in their boxes. And I was like, why don't you take them out? And she's like, because I'm saving them for my, for when I get older. And so she's probably made a lot of money off of those now.
Yeah, maybe.
She had them all around the room, like on boxes. I'm like, wow, how do you even know? Anyway, but these kids playing on the dock, and a croc comes up and wrecks the dock after she drops her little toy in the water. And the little girl is like hanging by this broken angled dock piece, and the croc's like waiting patiently to eat her. And this dumbass, instead of pulling her up, instead of actually just pulling her up from where she's hanging, he decides to get down next to her and hang with her.
So the crocodile got him, of course. Maybe they did it like that because they didn't want to kill the kid. They didn't want the child.
I think it was just an excuse to get him to die.
Yeah.
Instead of the kid. I was hoping the kid would get chomped in half just because I wanted to see some mayhem.
Right, and this dock scene was probably the best part of the movie.
Oh, you think? Yeah, it was pretty action packed.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in the
for
crocodile,
a long period,
and you could see the size of the alligator.
Right.
Or wait, crocodile? Is there a difference between alligator?
Yeah, it's a crocodile.
Oh, sorry.
The movie's called Killer Crocodile.
Well, I know that.
You remember that movie we watched?
I was just asking because I don't fucking know about these things. These alligator crocodile things.
I'm sorry. I'm just teasing.
Be a dick about it. God. If anybody wants to explain to me the difference between an alligator and a crocodile, please comment.
Yeah.
No fucking idea over here. I live in the desert.
I hope lizards. You guys remembered which movies we're watching this week since we put it up on.
Shut the fuck up. Okay, so the crocodile, I almost said alligator again. The crocodile attacks the dock. So then the research people hear the commotion and they come rolling down the road like, what's going on? I'm going to save the day.
Kevin saves the day.
Yeah, Kevin saves the day.
He jabs a fucking 2x4 in the mouth of the goddamn fucking, you got me saying alligator now. Crocodile's mouth, and stabs it in its back of its like throat, which is like clearly latex, like painted latex. But it's really funny looking. And I was like, ooh, what the fuck? He doesn't even have like a way to swallow people. Like, he killed this one guy that tried to help the little girl bizarrely, and then drowned him under the water after he bit him and had him in his mouth, which is kind of a cool scene.
Yeah, it was a cool scene.
Stabs that, he gets the girl, saves her, and then that's when, doesn't Joe show up?
Yeah, Joe shows up and he starts shooting at the crocodile.
He fires a fucking couple of rounds into it.
But it didn't do anything, and they mentioned that. Oh, it didn't do, the shots didn't do anything to the
Because he goes to the store to get better rounds. He's like, this will take down an elephant.
Oh, I'll pay for these when I come back for the mission. I prefer you to pay for them now. And he's like, and he just takes them and leaves.
Well, and I love that the largest fucking crocodile on the entire planet disappears into the water, and the judge and Joe suddenly unite to kill it. Like, even though they hated each other before.
Right.
Which the ecologists are like, no, we're against killing of any kind. I was like, didn't you just jam a 2x4 in the fucker's mouth?
Yeah. So then we understand that these kids are vegans, pretty much. I don't think they existed back then.
Well, they kind of make they kind of say that because one of them doesn't eat meat.
Yeah.
Later on, they talk about it. I'm like, it just killed all these people and possibly your friends, and it still deserves to live.
Yeah, it killed the local girlfriend, and they're like, oh, we can't kill it. It's an endangered species.
Yeah, it's unique. It's endangered.
Yeah, it could just wipe everyone off on the face of the planet.
It's like all of a sudden the ecologists don't give a fuck about dumping anymore. They just want to save the croc, and they decided to follow Joe.
Cold Joe.
The croc hunter, to make sure he doesn't kill this thing, because they know he's a very talented crocodile hunter. Better than Dundee, I've heard. But
I caught that. I just didn't laugh.
there was this other scene too where they like camp off in the shore, and it's like completely mud ridden. So they're like standing in like 4-inch mud. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh God, that scene must have sucked. Like, I don't even know, because like I heard that the actors had to bring 2 changes of clothes.
Oh, wow.
So, like, one of the guys, Richard Anthony Crennan, he went to the Banana Republic back in the day when they did, like, safari-style shit before it became, like, a popular store or whatever. And he bought, like, 2 outfits of, like, everything.
Oh, everything.
So that he would have it to wear down there.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, and I thought that was really funny. But, like, they're standing in this mud, and then they have to go in the tent. And I'm like, oh my God, they're dragging mud. That's all I can think about the whole time.
That's funny.
But the camera guy is like obsessed with trying to take a picture of this fucking crocodile. Like, dude, y'all gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, man?
I gotta get a picture. Yeah. I got to get the pictures.
Which it fucking breaks through the side of the boat when he gets on the fucking boat. And then the croc's like whipping its tail, and one of the guys falls overboard to try to like, because they're sinking at this point in time, and the guy's like, I'm so sorry, I fucked up. And he's like, I'll go back to the shore and pull the boat back in so we can save the boat. And he swims to the shore with the rope and then comes back. I'm like, what are you doing? Why wouldn't you just pull the boat?
Just pull the boat. Why did he
wrap it around a tree and pull it in, dude? You don't need to be fucking like, what are you doing? Anyway, he goes back. And the other dude falls in and gets eaten. Yeah. The rope guy, Kevin, the main guy, he swims back to the boat, which I just thought was like, what the fuck? Not only does he swim across to the shore, but he swims back. Right. Just blows my mind.
And now that the friend is dead.
Yeah, you're still rooting for the croc now, huh?
Yeah, no, he's not. Now it's okay for the crocodile to die. Now that it's already killed like 10 people, it had to kill one of your fucking people in order for you to be okay for the creature to die.
Right. They're all stranded on the side of the fucking shore. And, like, of course,
Cold Joe
comes to the rescue. Couldn't even get it out there. But yeah, he comes to the rescue, and they play this, like, really happy music.
Oh, that was really weird.
It was really weird.
It felt like Disneyland or something.
Because in a way, it seemed like Joe was like an asshole, and they were just going to fight this whole time, and then they were going to be like, it was like ecologists versus the conservatives, you know, or whatever the fuck it was, like murder hunter. Like, I felt like they could have had an opportunity for Joe to like pump a few shotgun rounds into them when he's like pulling up. Exactly. Like I was picturing it in my head, like he's so pissed. He's like, fuck these vegans.
Fuck these guys. I'm just going to put them in with the toxic waste, the radioactive waste.
Showtime, crocodile! He's cold.
But then
he's also Cold Joe.
But then they go, Joe brings him all the kids back to his place.
Yeah, he stays in this weird shack.
Yeah.
That has an upstairs for some reason.
Yeah, that was weird.
With like
why?
wonky, like dipping boards. Like when he's standing on it, I'm like, oh my God, that's going to snap. It's going to snap and he's going to die. And some fucking asshole fucking made this fucking thing and wasn't thinking about making it support humans on top. And they're, and you can tell that they knew because they put all the furniture to the walls.
Like
from the window to the walls. So the sweat dripped off his
That was good.
Anyway, sorry. But yeah, you see a dip, and I was just waiting for Cold Joe to fucking go through the floor and get a fucking splinter in his neck and die. Anyway, one of the dudes is like, what kind of meat is this, though? Because he's like, you can eat what you want. And Joe's like, hey, if you're going to ask questions, you better put that back on the shelf. And Joe looks at the ecologist leader, which is Kevin, and says, you still feel like saving the Crocs' life? And Kevin, the leader, says, I'll kill that son of a bitch myself if I get a chance. Joe's very pleased by this. He likes his new murderous style, and he says, yes, welcome to the dark side. Uncle Chocolate Creepy Fingers is here. Palpatine voice. But I would like to see that. That would have been really funny. That's what would have spiced up this movie.
He didn't even exist when this movie was made.
No, technically he did. Yeah,
I just meant, he was
in the first Star Wars, remember?
The character. Never mind.
Yeah, you fucked up.
Yeah, I fucked up. My Star
Wars fans are cutting themselves right now.
Yeah, right.
All one of them listening right now. But the guy, Ted Foley or whatever his name is, the guy that's been dumping shit, he leaves the judge in the water after decking him. He punches him in the face because they go out on his like really nice yacht or whatever in the water. He's like, this is not a good boat to be driving out here. And apparently that boat was a piece of shit. And they just made it look like it was like...
Oh, expensive?
Right.
That's funny.
Because of film magic. But he decks him, and then fucking judge can't swim, of course, because that's the trope. I can't swim. Right. And then the fucking croc pops up out of the water like fucking 20 feet in the air, by the way, and knocks Foley off of his 600 horsepower boat. And has a little Foley arm snack because he snaps off his arm, which is kind of cool.
That was cool.
I wanted to see more of that.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Yeah, and then the boat just goes veering off, hits the shore, and literally within a second, it's like boom! It just explodes in like one of the biggest Die Hard adventure fucking moments ever. Like as if fucking he was jumping down Yippee-ki-yay style down the fucking elevator shaft to fucking blow up. It was that big.
Well, they had dynamite on the boat.
Right, because they were going to blow it up out of the water.
Up, yeah.
And then the judge was like, I don't care about, I may be a bad guy, but I'm not a murderer. Didn't you say something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, the other part that really cracked me up is Joe and Kevin. They go to hunt the crocodile by literally verbally insulting it. Because Joe says they hate that. It's such a stupid joke, but like, it's like, it would have worked if it was like a Lethal Weapon movie. But this isn't a Lethal Weapon movie, but they're trying to make it be like this buddy cop sort of thing. Like that's the funny thing. And even in the second movie, they kind of pushed that angle too with
they pushed it more.
Yeah, but it's like it just did not come across, like lost in translation or something. But there's this part where they're like arguing with each other, and because Joe decides to cut his fucking arm like the
Cold Joe bastard
that he is, and he literally cuts his arm to chum the water with his blood. He's like, let's give it a taste of what it really wants.
Your face. I wish people could have seen your face when you said that.
So Joe's like, he chums the water with his blood, and Kevin is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he's like, let's give him a taste of what it really wants, kid. And he's like, Kevin, my name's Kevin. Don't call me kid. And then he's like, whatever you say, kid. And he's like, my name is Kevin. He's like, whatever you say, kid. My name is Kevin. I'm not a kid. Yeah, sure, kid. Like, way too many times, guys.
That was really funny, though.
That's like the buddy cop thing, right?
It was just dad jokes. That's just a fucking dad joke.
Then they, of course, after chumming the water, it does bring the attention of the croc, but they shoot at it, but it doesn't do shit. These fucking slugs that are supposed to kill an elephant didn't do shit. They're just popping off the top of his head. And so this is when
Cold Joe
goes on a surfing safari on the back of the alligator. He's stabbing it in the head. What was that thing he was using?
I don't know. It was some fishing something.
It was like a fishing pole not a fishing pole, like a fishing stick.
The spear.
Yeah, like the spear that you go fish hunting, like spear hunting. Spear fishing? Fish
hunting? Wouldn't that just be fishing?
I guess. I don't know. Depends if you're like, Steve Irwin, I guess. He's like, God, get in the water. Spear right in the face. Try not to get sting in the chest with the stingray. But dude, when he's riding on the back of the croc, I was laughing. I was like, Jesus Christ. And then he goes down in the water and you're like, oh no, Joe's dead. Joe fucking rode that motherfucker until death. That's when Kevin takes the boat back by himself, right?
Right.
He goes back to his vegan friends.
Yeah, he goes back to the friends and they talk about it. And then they start prepping for the next hunt.
Well, no, there's this really funny dialogue that made me laugh, though, we have to mention. Mm-hmm. Is because they have this discussion about that they want to kill the croc now. And the girl's like, what have we become? And the photographer is like, here, let's go make Molotovs. Remember he says that?
Yeah, he did say that.
He's murderous. He's frothing from the mouth, ready to fucking wear its head as a hat. And Kevin's like, we've changed. Hell, Kevin even shoots the croc's eggs on the bank, like fucking savage.
Yeah.
They see the eggs and they're like, oh, fuck, there's fucking eggs. We better kill them. Bam, bam. He's just frothing to the mouth to murder now. So they set out.
They're setting out to kill the crocodile now.
Right.
This was after they shot the eggs.
Right. And they never used the Molotovs, by the way, which is really disappointing.
Yeah.
Did they?
I don't think they did.
I don't think so either.
They must have used all the explosion scene on that one boat exploding.
Right, yeah. The budget, pretty much.
Yeah, the budget on that boat exploding.
So they go out on the water. The croc attacks the boat. And they start sinking. And out of the blue, you hear...
Well, you see a hat, don't
you see a hat floating through the air, being spun around and thrown like a frisbee. Joe's like, use it for luck, kid. You can do it. Use the propeller to kill it. As he's bleeding on the side of the shore.
There's blood all over him.
How the fuck did Joe get the fuck out of that? He's such a badass.
Because, he's fucking Joe.
I don't know. That just cracks me up. Which Kevin, he starts up this secondary propeller because some boats, when the engine goes down, they have to use something to basically try to get themselves out of the situation. So he finds this smaller one and chucks it into the open mouth of the fucking croc. And it's literally chopping up its mouth. You can just see latex and fake blood everywhere. And then all of a sudden, all this blood comes spurting up all over Kevin's face and body and everything like that. And then I don't even know why, but the propeller, the fucking boat propeller thing that he threw in its mouth explodes. And and he's screaming in excitement as blood is spraying on his face, yeah!
Jesus.
He's really changed. He went from vegan to fucking murderous
animal killer.
Yeah, he's drinking the blood out of the water. He's chumming it for himself. But I don't know. It's just the murderous blood drunk rage that he has there is really kind of laughable. And it's funny because Gianetto de Rossi says he didn't like this shit at all. He thought it was terrible when it explodes, and it really is kind of bad. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's a better ending than nothing.
Right, exactly. It could have been worse.
Right. They didn't, I don't know. He said he didn't like to work on this, but you didn't have the money.
Right.
And then
What are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? And then, of course, the end scene is you see one last surviving egg on the shore.
And little baby
arm comes out.
Yeah, little baby crocodile arm.
And then it's time for Killer Crocodile 2, Satan's Revenge. Just kidding. But yeah, guys, I think it was a fun movie. Like, that's why I like it, because we had so many laughs. There's so many ridiculous things that happen in this movie that just, I don't know, it's just so over the top and kind of ridiculous. But there is part 2 that we did, and yeah, we got to watch that thing. So
We got to watch that thing.
yeah, Christina's got some of the information on it. We don't need to get into it too in depth. We'll just get into it,
Right.
Because I want to talk about it. I don't want to give it that much treatment.
Right. Killer Crocodile 2 from 1990, the next year. The Caribbean swamps, which is to be made into a holiday resort, is terrorized again by a second monstrous crocodile, which is killing off anyone unfortunate to be in the water. It's a long sentence. Again, this one is directed by Giuliano de Rosa, Gianetta De Rossi, and we already said everything he's done. This one was written by Dardano Sarcetti and Fabrizio De Angelis, who I mentioned in the first movie.
Right.
Now, there is a new character in this movie. Her name is Lisa. She was played by Deborah Carr, who only has 4 credits to her name. One being a TV movie called A Stranger Waits.
Right.
Yeah. And then, of course, Joe and Kevin are back, which we mentioned in the first movie. And everybody else who starred in this movie, this really seems to be the only movie they were in.
Right.
So
what were your thoughts on this one?
I enjoyed this movie more than the first one, but...
Really?
I did.
What? What?
But...
Okay, now you have lost me. I am so confused.
But... there were a few really cringy moments. Like, this movie would not fly if it was released today at all. But I felt the story was better in this one. I loved how they brought in elements from the first movie instead of a new crocodile coming to terrorize another town.
Even though it is literally the same crocodile.
Yeah, well, totally. Well,
Yeah, because they only made one.
Right.
For both movies.
And then, like, to give comparison, the first movie and the second movie flowed well together, unlike movies like Carnosaurus 1 and 2, which did not flow, which were completely different, because they brought back characters.
Right. Well, it was intentionally done. Like, they wanted to get the most bang for their buck on that budget.
Right. An element I didn't like about the story was the love story they added into it. I thought it was really stupid and cheesy. Like, they didn't need to do that. And they didn't really explain it well, too, like how the 2 characters knew each other. But overall, I might watch this one again. I thought it was very entertaining, so I gave this one a 5 out of 10.
Really? That's so weird to me right now, because this movie I felt was slow and boring.
Really?
Yes. Like,
that's weird.
Sure, you got the same sort of bad stuff in there to laugh at, but mostly it was just waiting around for it to be a shadow of what the first was to me. The S-Big flair that we always talk about, we're hoping for me personally. It's not extremely terrible, but it definitely doesn't warrant multiple watches, in my opinion. Like, if you absolutely loved the first film or admired it in some degree, you should at the very least watch it one time, part 2. If not, for the continuation of Kevin and the continuation of
Cold Joe.
Oh, I can't wait till this is over.
Shoot me.
Please.
It's more of the same, but sort of tried to make a Romancing the Stone movie with Kevin and Lisa and this lead actress teaming up to battle the Croc, which there are a couple of scenes that were pretty fun, including a croc wrecking into the side of a hut. But for me, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame because Gianetto is such a fucking treasure. You really want to see him do everything and
Right.
do it really well. He's got like such an eye and aesthetic for Italian gore and makeup, and you just want it to be so fucking good. But all in all, it's really not that great to me. Maybe a 3.5 or 4 at best.
Wow.
I'd say 4 is fair, only because the first was fun enough to enjoy laughing at. You know, I could definitely see why Severin included part 2 as a bonus, because in my opinion, the second would be really hard to sell on its own, and most people venturing down part 2 will only do so if they've watched the first one.
Right.
So
Right. That makes sense.
it's probably essential to have it together.
Right.
So, and there was more of the features on both of the films on the first disc, the first Killer Crocodile. So, which, you know, I'm still glad we own it. I still like
Right.
it. I think it's one of those movies that you'll forget about and we'll have a copy.
It's a good summer movie. It's a good movie to start off this summer season,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, I don't know what else we're going to be watching next yet. We haven't decided just yet.
We haven't decided.
Yeah, so, but this is a movie for the fans of the first one, in my opinion. Do you have anything else to add?
That makes sense.
Do you think they should watch it anyway, or?
I think you should watch it.
Okay.
Just even those cringy moments, it just makes you think, what the fuck was wrong with us?
First of all,
Like, what was wrong with society?
well, I shouldn't say first of all. Maybe last but not least, it uses the same fucking footage as the end of the first one.
They do. It does.
And like, what the fuck, dog? That's what's really depressing.
Well, it's cheap, low
I
budget
get it.
movie.
I get it. They used half the budget to make this one.
And they probably didn't expect people to watch the movies back to back like us.
Oh my God.
He's rolling his eyes.
And I did not enjoy it. I mean, I appreciate the characters. I appreciate the person who worked on it. The people who worked on it.
Of
You know,
course.
but it's just not a really good film. It's a shadow of what the other one was, and that one isn't very much of a shadow
Right.
of other better films. Like, you know, I don't know. But yeah, now we do have some trivia and spoilers on this, and I will get into some more on Gianetto De Rossi because he's kind of a awesome guy. Something I want to mention that one of his works actually inspired one of my favorite movies of all time. So if you want to stick around for the spoilers and trivia, here's your warning. So this movie was filmed back to back, as we mentioned, with part 1. So it was planned from the get-go. Of course, obviously, they wanted Gianetto De Rossi to try his hand at his first directorial debut. And he said he really didn't care too much about directing. It probably didn't work so well because he looked at film from a viewer's standpoint and not a director.
Uh-huh.
Although, you know, he would like to direct again, but not for the, you know, the supposed stature of being a director, just because he wants to do it. Something on his own terms.
Right.
So there is music in the movie that was, and I'm pretty fucking sure of this, guys, sampled by rapper Danny Brown for his track called Really Dough. Really Dough, like really dough. Say they got the city on lock.
Oh, that's right.
That's a goddamn shame. Whoa. Really dough, like really dough.
So we were sitting there watching the movie, and Alex was like, what the fuck? And then he reminded me, he was like, I know this song.
Yeah, I
And,
did.
like, yeah, it was really funny.
So I think Danny Brown or whoever produced the track of Really Dough, if you want to check it out on like Spotify or something like that, the same song is written by Riz Ortolani.
Uh-huh.
It's got this xylophone thing, and it's literally the same pattern and everything, just amped up and like compressed and made to sound a little more brighter.
Oh.
You can hear it clearer, but it's almost in the same. It's a little slower, I think, in the track that Danny Brown does, but it's the same thing. I'm almost 100% sure of that.
Uh-huh.
So check it out. See if you think you agree with me, if you've ever heard it. Tried to find the song that they played in the movie while we were watching it or whatever, but I couldn't. Not Danny Brown, the actual original track.
The sound, like some of the soundtrack.
The OST is really hard to find.
Right.
So when Gianetto De Rossi was asked what he thought of these films that he worked on, he said up front that they're terrible. He's like, these aren't the exception. Perhaps they're the reason. But Anthony Crenna said that he was actually one of the more personable directors to actually work with. The other guy, Fabrizio De Angelis, was a little bit more, super strict, but he really actually wanted to root for Gianetto because he just seemed like a really nice guy, and he was like really trying hard, and he really wanted to. He said he was more of a director, like that actually gave a shit. So one of my favorite things of trivia that I want to mention to you guys is that Gianetto De Rossi did the snuff sequences in a movie called Emmanuel in America. Now, this is a movie that is kind of like sexploitation. There was like a whole series of movies back in the day, by the way. I don't know if you ever heard of Emmanuel, but it was like Emmanuel in Paris, and it was Emmanuel in this, and Emmanuel in that. They even did
like Debbie Does Dallas?
No, because there wasn't Debbie Does Everything Else. It was just, there's these movies that were like pornographic, sexploitative films that just different girls getting fucked in different places, and they were kind of just, I don't know how to explain it, but they started getting really weird towards the end. They did this one where she uncovers a fucking snuff film, and they also did this other one where Emmanuel goes to a cannibal, gets lost in the Lost Cannibals or whatever it's called, and it's like kind of gory. So they started getting really weird, but in this one called Emmanuel in America, she uncovers a snuff ring. Of snuff films where people are getting murdered and shit. And he did the sequences in which they do in that, which are really fucking fucked up, or as they called it in the documentary, grim, which was pretty interesting. But a little small-time director by the name of David Cronenberg happened to watch that film, and it inspired the movie Videodrome.
Oh, there you go.
Booyah! So if it wasn't for Gianetto De Rossi, we would not have had Videodrome. So I love this man. I love him, and I will be very sad to see him go if one day that ever comes, and I hope it never does. But
right.
But yeah, that just means I was like, oh my God. I was like, I did not know that. It's a new Videodrome factoid that I did not know. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the trivia. We got some of our scenes that we're going to jump through here. Try to make it quick as possible, but there's some funny shit that we want to talk about. They start the new movie out, by the way, with the same, like a couple again. So it's like almost like the first movie, but they're doing like windsurfing. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Where you have the like sail on a surfboard. Yeah.
Parasailing? No, that's not parasailing. Yeah.
No, parasailing is where you're on the parachute thing.
Yeah, I just said the wrong thing.
Yeah. But they're surfing on the ocean, and the croc eats the girlfriend. It's kind of silly. Nothing great.
Right.
At all.
No.
Then they show some guys removing some toxic waste, so clearly they're doing something with toxic waste again because they never removed it. I don't really understand. We're a little confused.
Yeah, I was confused too.
There's this reporter guy who's kind of figured out that this mayor or whatever of this town is covering up this toxic waste and not really removing it. And so he goes to investigate and finds cans of radioactive waste. Like, look, I know it's radioactive waste, but do you need to put it on the side of the fucking can? How obvious can you fucking be if you're trying to hide this shit? Can't you like put it in a like barrel of fucking fish or fucking beans or something?
They put a tarp over it.
But you know what I mean, though? Like, why do you need to fucking label it if it's fucking secret shit?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, someone gonna mix it up for a can of beans?
Spray paint over it or something.
I don't know. You want to get in trouble with toxic waste, right? Like, what the fuck? Fucking movies, man.
But he sees it, and then some guy's watching him, and then he gets shot.
Right. It's kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
So
you're like, what just happened?
Then they switch to another journalist who is down on her luck because her coworkers are making fun of her. Probably because she's a prettier girl than them all.
Prettier, younger.
She's like new, and like they're kind of, giving her the, harassment. They're having this really fucked up discussion. And boy, have the times changed, because they mentioned
she mentions dating.
Yeah, and she mentions gay people in an unflattering way, I guess.
A word that shall not be spoken.
On the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just we were like,
we both were like, oh,
we were taken back for a second. Yeah, like damn.
I was like 1990.
Right. Well, even if you look at like Lethal Weapon.
Oh yeah.
They say some fucked up shit in there too.
Yeah, they do.
Or like, I think it was, oh no, there was another, it was 48 Hours. Mm-hmm. I think it was called, because there was another 48 Hours. 48 Hours has one that like really shocked me, because he's just like saying some racist shit, like, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this. Anyway, there The reporter goes in to talk to her boss. She's like obviously getting called in, and they're making fun of her because they think she's going to get in trouble and get canned or something like that, because there's this bitchy bitch that's like making fun of her. And she comes out and she's like, looks sad. And she's like, I see that your face is sad. Look at you. What happened? Did you get fired? And she's like, actually, yes. No, actually, I'm going to the Bahamas or some
Caribbean.
shit. The Caribbean.
I'm going to the Caribbean. See, now we know where it takes place.
Yeah, they yeah, really. But she gets the job to basically go out and investigate this
toxic waste situation.
Because the guy called him before he died to go investigate it and never returned, right?
Right. So then it goes into the scene where there's two boats.
Full of kids, like students, and then they have their nuns. Yeah, two nuns, like one on each boat.
Yeah.
And they're like singing stupid songs terribly.
Stupid shit about God or something or other.
and one of the boats gets overturned by the croc.
The crocodile.
So then the fucking kids, they all die. But they didn't show it.
I know, yeah.
God damn it.
It was kind of that's the one thing that's lackluster about these movies is you really want to see people getting snapped into bits.
But those kids, when they were in the water, they were like smiling and shit. I wrote that down because I was like, shouldn't they be terrified? Why are they smiling?
Because they're acting the best they can, I guess. But one of the guys from earlier who was helping to get rid of the waste is so irritated. He's in the swamp and he's like this like really annoying character. And he like storms off with a shotgun because they put like a fucking... What did they put? Like a fucking dead lizard in his food or some shit like that?
Oh, yeah.
And then he like sticks it. It's like really a real lizard, by the way. And he storms off with his shotgun, firing it into the trees and hits a beehive. And then like just this like, you know, everything is going wrong. And of course, he eventually runs into the crocodile and he escapes and goes back to the hut to tell them. And they don't believe him because he's always bitching about shit. And it busts through the side of their shack. And this thing's like 3 times the size of the first movie, it seems like it busts through like a fucking bus, dude.
See, that part was really cool.
That was really cool. That was like kind of promising. I was like, oh shit, maybe this is good.
Yeah.
No. But the reporter lets the boss know that Baxter's sort of lying. This mayor guy is lying about removing the toxic waste. So that's kind of like the, you know, thing going on. And they're like, well, we're going to send out one of our best guys Yeah, one of the guys. She's like, who the fuck? I don't need any help. I can do this myself. And he's like, no, we don't want anything happening to you out there. So we're going to send in one of the best. And it's Kevin. He's back.
Yeah, so he comes back. And she's all pissy, so she's like, well, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go search. I'm going to go search on my own.
Yeah, and she walks off all stupid because, like, throughout this whole movie, she walks really dumb.
She walks like a model. She walks like she's on a runway.
Right, but it doesn't make sense.
No, she must have been directed that way.
Yeah, like, she's actually okay as an actress.
Yeah.
Like, but, like... And she's pretty and all that, but the way she walked, I was like, what is going on here?
Way overdone. Oh, so then she gets on the boat with this guy.
She hires a guy to take her out to the swamp before Kevin gets there.
Right. Who is in cahoots with the other guys. They said to scare her, you know, so she doesn't go out into the water anymore.
Right. So they pay him to rape her.
Yeah, it was a really weird scene.
She doesn't get raped, by the way.
No, she doesn't. There isn't a rape scene. It was kind of silly because he stops the boat and then he gets up and then he starts unbuckling his pants and then she starts laughing at him.
Dude, he was like the nicest guy before, and then all of a sudden, like,
then they showed him looking at her ass and stuff.
He was activated.
Jesus.
But it was funny because she just started laughing at him, and she had a knife in her bag. And she
kind of reminded me of like Mandy when she's like laughing at his little dick.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that was a funny scene.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous. But then he gets eaten. He falls into the water. She tries to save him. I can't swim. What the fuck are you doing on a boat, idiot?
Yeah. and then the crocodile comes out.
Right.
And starts, and then she's trying to help him into the boat.
What, eats him?
Yeah, but then the crocodile eats him.
Yeah.
So then she's stranded, right?
She falls into the water too, like right in the thick of everything going on, and you're like, what the fuck did she? And it just cuts. Like the scene cuts, like, wait, what the fuck? And then they cut to Kevin, the dangerous, checking into his hotel and then out into a boat and into the swamps. And he's still got that hat too, which you can tell when they're shooting this scene as he's charging down the water to find her. It's like he's holding onto his hat, but he doesn't want to put his hand on his head because he's supposed to look cool as he's going like 50,000 knots down the road or down the water or whatever, you know? All of a sudden, he's still got that hat on that Joe gave to him, obviously. And Lisa is stuck in the swamps and they have her chest pretty much hanging out. Pretty much without a bra because, you know.
Why do you need a bra?
Yeah, especially in the Italian sleaze fest. You want to
exactly.
But it's so weird that they added that in there because you think like this is kind of like done in the Romancing the Stone kind of way.
Yeah, it was, and it was so opposite from the first movie.
Right. You see Kevin throw his hat to Joe because like
the end of the first movie.
Yeah, he's back too, and you see, you know, Kevin tells Joe he's back to chase off the demons and help Lisa.
Reunited and it feels so good.
I don't know what that is.
Because Joe and Kevin are reunited.
Oh, okay. I thought is that a song though?
Yeah, this is a song.
I don't know what that song is.
You don't know? I'll play it for you later.
Anyway, Lisa survived, but Joe dies by the croc. But they try to make it all fun and cute between Kevin and Lisa. Like I mention all the time, Romancing the Stone, with them sort of like trying to prove that they're both badasses. And she even gets in the water to look for her Geiger counter. She's like, I know I lost it around here in this murky brown water that I can't see in, and I need to swim to the bottom of and try to find. Like, you're not going to find that shit.
Yeah. That was a really weird scene. It didn't make any sense.
I'm like, I don't know. That shit made me laugh. But back at Joe's house, they're like drying off, and Lisa's in a towel getting all sexy time with Kevin. And he's like, oh God, what are you doing now? And she says, don't you know that fear and death situations stimulate and arouse reproductive organs? And he's like, my dad always said I should learn something new each day. And I'm like, yeah, they're gonna fuck. And she's like, maybe it's nature's way of making sure we don't go extinct. And he pops out a titty and she approaches him for a kiss. And then it cuts, of course. So,
right.
It's not like I really wanted to see them fuck, but I just thought it was funny because it was like a porno.
Totally.
Total porno moment.
Totally.
There was this weird scene too where like they're trying to make dynamite to kill the fucking crocodile, and Kevin's like lighting fuses right next to sticks of dynamite.
Yeah, that's
I'm like,
smart.
what the fuck are you doing? You could see the sparks jumping all over the desk. Next, you're gonna fucking die?
But he's not going to because they didn't have the budget to do that kind of explosion.
Right, but it just looked really fearless. He's a fearless monster.
Right.
But the Baxter boys, they're the guys that are hired by the mayor of this fictional city. They're out and about on the water getting eaten and attacked by the crocodile pretty quick. It wasn't any blood pretty much at all.
Right.
It was kind of silly.
It was pointless.
And then Kevin and Lisa head out to investigate and stumble upon a family that are jet skiing and boating. This is kind of a silly scene.
Yeah, when they're waving, like, for him to turn around, they're like, turn around,
They're like, get out of the fucking water. You're going to die.
And
fucking crocodile. They're like, hi.
Hi. And it isn't like they just did it once. Like, they did that scene like 3 times. It was like a long thing.
Can you imagine if the crocodile fucking came up out of the water? Because the little kid's hanging on that rope doing the jet skiing on his thing. If the croc grabbed and bit the child, then pulled the boat back. Like nowadays we can see shit like that, but back then they couldn't. But can you imagine if it bit onto it, swallowed it, and then yanked the boat and flipped it over and killed the family? I would have been like, yeah! But no, they're all fucking saved.
Yeah, they're all, yeah. And then I forget.
Well, he cuts the rope and the kid from the kid, and Kevin pulls the rope and him back to safety, and then the like family pulls him in.
How did the crocodile? Yeah, it's crocodile. How did the crocodile die?
Well, the croc follows Kevin and Lisa. Kevin goes, riding on the back of the croc for fun. Like, looks like some fucking, like, you're in that bar with the fucking bull riding thing. And it's this giant croc. But the funny thing about this is as he's riding on this, the mechanical croc, they show it as a shot from a low angle, so it's shooting up. Then they keep cutting to footage of like a fake little guy and
that's right,
on a crocodile, so that they can see him like writhing around in the water. So it's like this miniature that looks so bad. It's really bad, like especially in 1080p, but it kind of makes it funny that way. But then Lisa chucks a stick of dynamite to Kevin, who he basically what he was doing with that dynamite is figuring out a way to make it light without having to use a lighter.
Oh, okay.
So he made this system where you pull on this end and it would light it. He like puts it in the fucking alligator's mouth as it's writhing around and jumps off from 20 feet in the air.
Wow.
Because it's like so high. And then you see a huge bucket of fucking blood follow him, which was really funny. And then they cut to the same fucking footage of the croc blowing up, intercut with new footage, granted, but it's got the same shit from the first movie, like same angles and everything. Like they didn't even think to use a secondary camera.
It's crazy, and that was it.
I'm like, you son of a bitch! I can't believe you fucking did that. But there's that moment afterwards. Remember where there was like Kevin and Lisa and they kiss? And they see the toxic waste barrels come floating up to the top.
Oh, that's right.
Because of the explosion triggered them somehow from the bottom. They were like, they were here the whole time. It was here the whole time. And they kiss again. I feel like they should have had her like hair falling out as they kiss because the radioactivity was like had gotten to them and she'd been in the water. So they're like kissing and you see like a segment of her hair come out and his lips and her lips melt into each other. Like, oh my God, it's in the water the whole time. Oh my God, the radioactivity.
That would have been so much better.
Dude,
so much
if
better.
I had the money, I'd remake it that way. You know what I mean? Like do it like really fucking faux. You know, like those faux horror movies, and just do it like really silly. I don't know. Man, these movies are disappointing in the fact that they didn't have gore, but they are really fun to watch in some regards. Like, it's not like high on the list of like that. But
at least we watched them. They were good.
I enjoyed it. I'm glad I own it.
We had fun together.
I like the first one. I'm still surprised you like the second one more.
Yeah, I did. I don't know.
So weird. Because we were both complaining about it. I thought you for sure wouldn't have liked the second one.
Yeah, no.
Because
I was complaining about both.
Legitimately, guys, we really don't. We can't. I'm not allowed to talk to her.
No.
After we watch these movies, and it's really hard. That's why I babble when we do these podcasts, because like we legitimately don't know how we feel. Like sometimes I slip out something. She'll know what I think, but she usually doesn't agree with me. So you get the best of both worlds. So if you hate this movie, you can grab onto her nonsense, and if you like the movie, you can grab onto mine. Hey, I said it's our nonsense. I didn't mean just you. Anyway, guys, what did you think of these movies? I would love to hear if you've seen these. Let us know in the comment section down below. Which do you prefer? Actually, do you agree with Christina or do you agree with me? Do you like, which one do you, these two, if you've seen them, do you like more? I would love to hear. So, and did you pick this up? Did you pick up these copies of it and see them yourself? Love to hear from you guys. We really do appreciate all the support you give us each week, and we're so glad to have you here every week to share these times with us. So next week, we're going to be talking about two movies that kind of deal with time in a way, but really, we just wanted to watch them, so it's kind of like a grab bag of stuff. We wanted to kind of grab something in the 2000s area, and this is going to be Time Crimes from 2007. And Identity from 2003. So we'll be watching those. I don't know if they're up on any of the platforms, like digital platforms that you can watch or not, but you know, at least you guys know this in advance. So would love to see if you've seen these movies or if you're excited about it. I'll definitely let you know where you can find them online, as you know, by Thursday or whatever. But if you want to try to find them earlier, all I ever do is type in the name of the movie and the date, and then in Google, and Google will say watch movie, and it'll list all the different places that you can watch it. That's pretty much how I do it. But every now and then you can sometimes find them like located in Tubi and stuff and all of these random places. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to those. I think that'll be fun.
I've never seen them, so
Yeah, so it's gonna be an interesting new episode next week. So I hope you guys will join us. Really appreciate your support, and as always,
Long live the void.
Listening to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. Tune in every Monday for a brand new episode.